Well, today we're joined by one of my favourite athletes. 13 global medals from World Championships, Olympic, European Championships, Commonwealth Games. We're joined by the one and only Jamie Baulch. Welcome to Be On The Track, Jamie.
Great to be here. I love it. I'm pleased. I'm really pleased to be on this show. I love it.
Well, we're delighted. So it was a 15-year career on the track. Since then, you've transformed yourself into the TV star as well.
Yeah.
A bit of question of sport, dancing on ice. Also, a lot of different business and charity work that you do. But take us back to the young boy on the streets of Risca and how it all started for you.
Wow. Okay, going way back. Okay, so way back in time. It's funny how I think most people in track and field, they sort of start like this. I was really lucky that my headmaster was a runner, and I was in sports day in school. I was 10 years old in sports day. And I always refer to myself as Lord Farquhar from Shrek, right? I'm the shortest athlete out there. I'm 5'8" from Wales, little munchkin, do you know what I mean? Really short. And so you can imagine when I was in junior school, I was tiny, right? And up against David and Goliath and all this. And we had this event called the obstacle race. And the obstacle race involved running 10 metres with an egg and spoon.
Yep.
Then going over the wooden bench, the long way, and then jumping into the saddle like that, and then going under this crash mat and sprinting to the finish. Anyway, my headmaster goes, on your marks, good set, started running with the egg and spoon like that. I didn't have chewing gum on it. Run with the egg and spoon, right? Put the egg and spoon down, over the wooden bench, into the saddle like that, underneath the crash mat, went to sprint to the finish. He goes, Jamie, you cheated, because I went out of the side of the crash mat instead of going full way. So he goes, Jamie, go back to the start. So I had to sprint all the way back to the start, pick up the egg and spoon, over the wooden bench, into the start, underneath the crash mat, sprinted to the finish, crossed the line, won the race.
Oh,
I went twice as fast as every kid in the whole school, and my headmaster goes, hey, you're a bit of a super kid, even though you look like Lord Farquhar from Shrek. No, he didn't say, and that was it. Like, he was a runner, and he said, join Newport Harriers. He was down at Newport Harriers. I think that was, say, on the Tuesday in school. On the Thursday, I was down at Newport Harriers training with people like Kevin Williams, and who's obviously a coach now and a brilliant athlete when he used to compete. So, yeah, that's how I started in track and field.
Wow.
It's pretty impressive. I was going to ask, do you recall your first competition? But I think you may have just told us it.
That is it. Well, that is it. That was my first sort of, because we all start in school, right? We all start, my thing is, you start off as a sprinter. If you're not good at sprinting anyway, you end up moving up to the 400 metre whatever. But yeah, that was it. That was how I started. But I do remember my first sort of athletics competition, and that was down at Cumbrand Stadium, which is still my favourite track in the whole world. It's no other.
It's a hidden gem still.
It's better. You know it, right?
Yeah,
you know what.
I know
Come on. Like, we all know.
Well, the British champs in the 70s were there, and there were 20, 30,000 people, and the likes of Zola Budd were getting driven by Rolls Royce to run in that meet. It's one of those where if any business people out there that want to pump a load of money in and get it'd be rocking, wouldn't it?
It's honestly, they've built some other amazing stadiums since and whatnot, but even now, it's got that embankment around the edges. I think they had Man United playing there one year. You know what I mean? It was proper.
There's still something magical about it when you walk in. There's some nostalgia there that needs to be.
I know.
Maybe it's us, Jay. Maybe we're getting old.
Yeah, come on. Let's just talk about for the full session so somebody invests.
So you went from egg and spoon race to joining a club. Do you think being a part of a club as a junior was really integral to your career as an athlete?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was so lucky that in that club you had Doug Turner. You had, later on, you had the Christian Malcolms, you had the Kevin Williamses. I mean, I was really lucky to be in a group straight away under the guidance of Jock, God rest his soul, an amazing coach who looked after some of the best ever sprinters in Wales. And that was it, really. I mean, they say success breeds success, and I was in this great group instantly, and the rest sort of came through.
Bit of trampoline as well, I hear, when you were younger. Other sports? Do you play a bit of football, bit of rugby?
Good at rugby. I was very good at rugby, actually. They called me Golden Legs in Pontypool College, and I genuinely think I could have possibly made it. Yeah. To a Welsh cap. I do.
Oh, wow.
I used to play with some of the Welsh rugby players at the time, and I ran circles around them. You know what I mean? I was actually pretty good. But athletics or rugby, do I want to get hurt? There's people big all the drinking games. And I just said, hang on a sec, But I played rugby in Pontypool College for a number of years, and would do right. Trampolining.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did in college. I ended up coming second in the Welsh champs.
No way.
You're a Welsh medalist.
Yeah. So I don't know how the hell I done that. I was always a good gymnast. I naturally could flick flacks, and I was that guy. I was that kid in school, which was really annoying. Every sport I did, I was pretty good at, except for football. Absolutely useless at football. Always have been, always will be. Useless at football. Every other sport, I'm all right. Tennis, badminton, swimming, you name it, I'm all right.
It's refreshing you're not good at everything, Jamie, definitely.
No.
So, GB Junior debut 1991, 200 metres, you break the Welsh record. Yeah. Was that putting that GB vest on? Was that like, this is it?
I was in Salamanca. So it was funny, leading up to that race and leading up to the whole of that, like I said, Law Farquhar from Shrek, you'll get this. When you first started athletics and you're running in Wales against Welsh people, and then you go to Stoke, which they had the British Junior Championships.
Nice.
You remember those days?
It's a big day out.
It's a big day out. And then you first get to race Darren Campbell and Jason Fergus and Alan Condon and Toby Box, some of these amazing athletes. And I remember at the time thinking, who's this now, And it was a guy called Stephen Rees from Wales, brilliant sprinter, and he always used to kick my butt. And very, very fast. I think he was like a 10-6 runner, something like that. And he always used to kick my butt. And I remember going to the British Junior Championships before that race in Salamanca, and really nervous. Ended up coming third in the 100 metres in my first sort of proper, let's have a proper race, and came second in the 200 metres. And it was in that 200 metres in the British Junior Championships where I remember going around the bend and I had a Welsh vest on. I remember the announcer saying, in the patriotic colours of Wales, we have Jamie Baulch. And it was the first time anyone could ever say my surname right? Because they would always go, James Baulch. And I'd be like, that's the actor.
I quite like that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I was like, ain't he an actor?
I was going to say, he sounds like a movie star.
Do you know what I mean? They'd always get my name wrong. And it was in that race, they got my name right. And I remember going, I've made it. Somebody outside of my family. And that was when I ended up going to Salamanca. Darren didn't compete in that race, and the Welsh record took it from Colin Jackson.
From a certain Colin.
Yeah.
And in 94, doubling distance, they're making that jump from 200 to 400. What do you still prefer in terms of, those days from being a sprinter to that different type of sprint pain of the 400?
Well, 100%. If I could have carried on doing 1 and 2, I would have done 1 and 2. And you know the sickness which comes with doing 400 metres. I mean, Colin Jackson, Linford Christie, has never trained a day in their lives. I mean, Colin, if you're listening to this show, mate, you know. Like, I've never seen Colin sick. Right? I've never seen Linford sick because they only run like 50 metres or maybe 110 metres if he's lucky, and it was horrific. The 400 metres, I go to the running track now, even the 200 metre track indoors here, I go, oh God, that's far. When I go to an actual running track which has got a red tartan there, I'm like, oh God, what an idiot I was doing that. But, it's the race chose me.
I like that. Yeah.
And 2 years later, you got the call up for the Atlanta Olympics, part of the 4x400 relay.
Yeah, but 4x4 relay, I mean...
Some team.
Yeah, wow. The record's only just been broken, I think, last year. I mean, we had that, the British record for over 25 years. And you think, Roger Black, Ewan Thomas, Mark Richardson, myself... an amazing team, and I just feel very lucky to be part of that squad. I mean, just to give it perspective, I came 5th in the trials in 44.71.
Yeah, that was. I remember watching that in Birmingham, and that was just one of those trials where
you'll never see it again.
Phenomenal
you'll never see that depth of athletics. I mean, they've got some incredible athletes now, Matt Hudson-Smith and the rest. But, pre-spikes, pre, let's not go into that. You know what I mean? All you youngsters, you know what I'm talking about. And all the old people, you know what I'm talking about. We know. So, it was a phenomenal team. And, to be part of that, 23 years old, going to your first Olympic Games, knowing that you're going to get a medal at the end of it, providing you get in the final. Yeah.
And you did. You got a silver medal.
Silver medal.
How did you process that success so early on in your career?
Yeah, it was crazy, really, because unlike track and field and sport today, there was only us. I mean, if you look back at Olympics back in the 90s, There was no gold letterboxes. There was no, I think it was only about 6 or 7 medals won in Atlanta. Forget, 2012.
It was pre-funding, wasn't it?
Pre-funding,
so just the support wasn't there.
No.
And we just weren't producing the sheer numbers of results.
I mean, it really came through in 2012 onwards, where you saw a massive shift in sport generally, not just track and field, but
100%.
generally. And we were pre that. And I remember, when we got the medal, I remember the next day we were on the TV show with Des Lynam, and I remember it's the first time I ever met Des, and I'm in a studio like this, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Des.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable to see Des.
That's boyhood stuff.
But innit? Right. Yeah. And I was just like, this is incredible. And we turned from being your normal athlete to, it sounds a little bit over the top, to being like pop stars. And I'm not even kidding you. At those times, I was sponsored by Yves Saint Laurent, De Beers Diamonds. I had my own TV show. I was doing stuff which nobody's doing today, in the respect of that level of... And I know Collins and Linfords were huge icons of sport, but we equally had our own little space and time. And at the time, I thought it was normal, but now I'm in my 50s and I'm a granddad. I'm like going... Oh my God,
that happened.
Yeah, I in '97 I went on Regent Street to turn on the Christmas lights.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Think about how big that is. It's not like your local, let's just do it in Cardiff, click, which would be an honour.
Yeah.
And I've never done it, by the way. But Regent Street, So yeah, we were amongst something which was, and me and Colin talk about this. Colin Jackson talk about this. Colin and Linford were rock stars.
Yeah,
I'm not exaggerating it. They weren't, they were earning and doing stuff which the footballers weren't doing. They were on football money. Yeah. They were doing crazy stuff, and I just so happened to be in their running group, And
that's so cool.
So I'm just this little guy with dreadlocks, thinking, I'm all that at 23, and it was amazing.
We can't move on yet from '96 because I've heard this story a few times of you in that Olympic final with one of the Harrison twins. And you've got to tell it, when you're in that moment, in that race.
Yeah.
I think kids having fun in their relays, at the Welsh schools, in the interregionals of the weekend. The story you're going to tell now is like just one of my favourite ones.
Well, you know what, right? You train all, I started when I was 10, 11 years old, and then I'm 23. So decades gone by of blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah.
And when you watch the Olympics on TV, it looks so serious.
Yeah.
People crying when they're on the rostrum and they're all being like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I'm going to tell you what really goes on at the Olympics. So we'd made it to the final, and it was my first Olympic Games. And, you're nervous, 100,000 people in the crowd, 1 billion people watching on TV. It's a big thing, right? And Ewan Thomas is on first leg, myself second leg, Mark Richardson third leg, Roger Black, the housewife's favourite, on fourth leg. And we could always call him the housewife's favourite. And America in lane 4, we're in lane 5. The gun goes, and Ewan has an amazing lap.
He got out.
Tearing it up. And he's coming around the track, and Ewan Thomas is coming around for Great Britain, all that, buzz. And so he gives me the relay baton, and I'm running around the bend in the Olympic final in America, right? I got to give it context of where we are.
Yeah.
I'm running around the bend, and the American runs past me round the first curve, right? And as he runs past me, because their first leg runner has a storming leg as well. As he runs past me, he goes, oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. And I'm thinking, you cheeky... Do you know what I mean?
It's an Olympic final.
Olympic final. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. I thought, what? I thought, you can't disrespect
Not National League Athletics.
No, this isn't no Cumbrian Stadium. Now, this is serious, right? And I'm thinking... All right, he doesn't know who he's dealing with. He's got Lord Farquhar on his leg.
With some wheels.
Yeah, I got some wheels and gears and everything.
Yeah.
So he goes past me around the first curve. And the crowd go wild because they're in front.
Oh, yeah.
He's about this far ahead of me, about that far ahead of me. I thought, I'm going to do you now, right? Because he didn't know I've got wheels. He didn't know I can click through gears, right? So I go... bang, as fast as I can with 300 metres to go, right? The most...
I'm looking at the text, I'm looking at the rule book of running 4x4s, and it's not in there, James.
But I'm going, I don't care, he's disrespected me and the Welsh. Bang, I ran as fast as I could. As I ran past him, I went, meep, meep, like Roadrunner, right? The crowd were like, oh, right? And because it was so an epic moment, you see him going like that. It's like, I must have ran 9.9 down the back straight. I'm not even kidding, a rolling 9.9, because I regularly used to run about 10.1. Anyway, come up the home straight, oh my God, the wheels are falling off. I'm struggling here. Anyway, but I give the relay baton to Mark, gives it to Roger. We break the British record, come second, and, you know, an amazing moment. And, you know, what I love about that moment about meeting the guy is, you know, it doesn't matter how, don't take life too serious. Yeah. Don't take athletics too serious. You know, some of these people who maybe listen to this podcast, if you're starting out in your career or if you're during it, or what I learned, and I learned the hard way in 97, is when I came second in the world indoors, when I should have won it, I got so nervous and overawed by the whole bit, I couldn't handle it. And I ended up coming second when I should have come first. Looking back, you think, oh, there's a silver medal in a world indoors. But I realised quite quickly after that race, when I got home, I'm looking at my medal in my cabinet and in my hand, and I'm going, oh my God, you know, this is a silver medal in the world champs in Paris. And suddenly I was in an apartment, and I could hear people hustle and bustle outside, and I started laughing. I went, this medal and tomorrow is chip shot paper. And I realised that nobody cares about my athletics career, nobody more than me. Okay, my mum and dad and friends, but nobody really cares. Like, I can watch somebody do a great performance, and then the next thing, you know, I may see Jeremiah do something incredible, which he's done this year, but then he's done the race. I go, oh, yeah, well done, Jeremiah. Oh, do you want some chips for that? Do you get what I mean? Once he's done the bit, you're on to the next thing. But in, say, let's just use Jeremiah. In Jeremiah's terms, he's still thinking of it, you know, but we've all moved on. Yeah. We're doing a podcast today. And as soon as I realised that nobody really cares except me, I suddenly laughed.
It's a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah. And 2 years later, absolutely won the world champs. It was the easiest race ever because I realised there was no pressure. Yeah. Because the only pressure I put myself is myself. So from that moment on for the rest of my career, I just enjoyed it. And you both know, when you enjoy stuff, what do? You do it better. You know, if you've got a smile on your face, meet, you run faster, you just see that.
Remember actually World Indoors, 99.
Yeah.
To age us slightly, Jamie, that was before Nyack was built. So there was no indoor facility in the UK full time at that point.
Yeah.
But going back to the gears that you showed in that Olympic final, you were almost born to run the 400 indoors because of that break, the break at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Take us through what it's like. I know you said it's tomorrow's chip paper, but to be world champion from that little boy in primary school, that must feel pretty special.
It is special. You get a silver 2 years previous, and you want to be the best. It's not. It's great. I got lots of medals, but a few of them are silver and bronze.
Yeah.
The only ones which really count are the ones where you win, right?
Yeah.
We're all trying to win, even in sports day. We're trying to be number one. But just to go back to how I won that race, because it's an important factor, is I was training with Frankie Fredericks. Frankie Fredericks was the second fastest athlete after Michael Johnson. He'd ran 1968 or something like that. I mean,
phenomenal.
He was running 19.6s, which would have been 19.2s and 3s now, and crazy stuff. We're talking February, March. In Australia, he ran 90, and you remember, 19 point now doesn't seem as great, but 19 point back in the 90s, he ran in an Australian Open meeting, 99 in February.
Wow!
Even now, people don't run 99s, even with everything going on. And the last training session in Australia, because I was training with him, we did 4 100-metre runs. Just me and him in Narrabeen in Australia. Tops off, abs out, feeling great. First one, 11 seconds. Second one a bit faster. Third one, pretty fast. Last one, flat out. My PB, still to this day, and obviously I'll never do any faster, is 10:51, right? That's my PB. Frankie's was 9. He ran, put it in perspective, ran the most sub-10s ever at that point.
Until probably Usain.
Until Usain or maybe Asifa Powell, right?
Yeah.
So, the guy's incredible. So Frankie goes, we're doing 4 100s, good pace, faster, walk back recovery. I do the first one, 11 flat. Second one, I'm thinking, sorry, I saw cut. Right. So, right.
It's all good. We got a great team.
I had to emphasise that point, right? So the second one, I'm thinking, I'm going flat out in the second one, sort of thing. So,
okay.
I'm just me and him, nobody timing it, but I'm presuming it's going to be 10-6.
Yeah.
The jaw, relax. I'm running down the track, just me and him. Oh my God, I feel amazing. Cross the line like that. We're together. Third one, he goes, okay, the next one, we're doing this one really quick, but it's not flat out. I'm thinking, hang on.
What was the one before?
Yeah, this one's, do you know what I mean? Third one, cross the line together. Last one, flat out. I'm looking at him going, that's Frankie Fredericks, and I'm just Lord Farquhar next to him. What's Lord Farquhar going to do now? 3, 2, 1, go. Relax. He beat me by about that much, and I went, I just run 10-1 at least.
Yeah.
I know. You know when you know. You know, like you might have done certain runs. You know when you've done reps. You know, didn't you? You know when you've gone, ooh. So when I went to the World Champs, which was 3 days later or 2 days later, I'm laughing my rear off because I'm going, if I'm the second fastest 100-meter runner on the planet right now, because I felt invincible, I went, how am I not going to win the 400? So if you look back at that race, so if anyone's watching this podcast, just go into Jamie Baulch, Google World Indoor Championships 1999. When you see me just before I get to 200 metres, I'm last.
Yeah.
I'm at 160, I'm last, way last. But I just went, I'm last. Because I knew I had Frankie. I had the meat speed. I went past him, and this is the key. As soon as I got in front, this was the bit I went, I've won. At 200 metres, I've won. And I put on the brakes, slammed them, went slow. Everyone had to halt behind me. And I had 200 metres to enjoy it, which was an amazing moment.
To have that moment of almost perfection and be at the top of your game.
Yeah, it's a lovely moment.
That must be amazing.
And, you know, I wasn't talented like a Usain Bolt or a Colin Jackson. Those guys were supremely talented. You know, obviously I was very good. You don't win Olympic medals or win world championships if you're not. But I had to rinse every sinew of my talent out of my body, whereas people like Colin could eat some donuts and run 12.9 the next day, you know.
So if that's up there in terms of the highs, Sydney, 5th place in the relay, probably wasn't what you guys wanted out from that. So, you know, the highs and lows that athletics gives you, you know, what have you learned along the way, and how have you coped to come back? You know, and it was such a long career as well.
Yeah, it's funny that, you know, in athletics, there's so many more lows than highs. There's loads of lows. I could speak for the rest of the podcast about all the lows, but it's in the lows which make the highs the highs. If I was always on a high, it would be boring, really, right? You know, if I was always good, and I mean good, yes, it's nice. Maybe you've got a bigger bank balance and you've won again, you won again. But I bet, not that I've ever spoken to Usain Bolt, but I imagine when Usain Bolt had his blips in his career, and Colin Jackson, let's just use Colin Jackson, 92, didn't win the Olympic gold. Everyone's going, oh, he never won an Olympic gold. 93, broke the world record and won a world champs. When he crosses that line, bah! Would he have had that moment of, what? Like that if he had did well in 92? No, he wouldn't have. Like, we don't know, but you know, you understand what I mean? So I loved the low points in my athletics career. Even I didn't want them, but now I look back on them, I think, oh, bring on the low, because as soon as I hit that high again, I'm going to have a massive buzz. And it's all about the peaks and troughs in sport and how you deal with the troughs. Yeah. And how you come back to make it a peak.
As well as going to the Olympics, you went to 3 Commonwealth Games. How do the two compare?
Okay.
KL, you've got to mention KL semi-finals.
You can see my smile on my face. The Commonwealth Games were by far the best competition I ever ran in. Olympics, forget the Olympics. They're too big. They're massive. They're big. Yes, we all want Olympic medals. I get it. But can you imagine sharing a room with you and Thomas? I mean, or Paul Gray and, you know, the Collins of this world. I mean, when you put on that red vest, I never did it for Wales in rugby, but I did it for Wales in track and field. And it's the best moment in your career because it's not so serious. You know, even though I had fun at the highest level, I think the Commonwealth was more banter. You feel more part of something. It's more unique. You know, you feel more responsible for when you see, you know, the 15-year-old gymnast or something, and you know, you want to mentor them on, you know, at the same time as you're about to compete. And, you know, it's something special. And, you know, Kuala Lumpur.
What would you have run in that semi-final when you and Ewan were waving at each other?
Yeah.
Still, it's one of my favourite memories. But what would you have run if you'd have full gassed it?
I think, and it's hard to say, but I think I would have broken. I think I could have gone past Ewan that day.
Yeah.
And because I weren't even trying, and I think I could have broke the European record in that time.
In that race,
I really do believe that. And I think if you chatted to Ewan, he'd say, he would have broken it as well. So. Just to give you a bit of context of why I ran so fast, I remember everyone was looking at you and he's the one. And I thought, really, is he? Is he though? You know what I mean? Like, is he? And I trained with him for well, this is what happened. I trained with him for 2 weeks. And as I was running with him, I went, really? Is this all you got? Like, no, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, because Ewan's brilliant, right? And he knows I got a lot of love for him. But then when I got to the track and he said, Jamie, if you're with me at 300 metres, and I just thought, really? Like, do you really, like, and it was a bit of banter, but it was also that bit of rivalry. And I got to 300 metres and I just looked at him and I said something to him, which I won't repeat on here because it's, unless it's going out after 9.
No,
but I said something. No. So I said something to him and he went, because he couldn't believe I was next to him. And then I just went, what? As if to say, is this it? Right? So it was a bit of showmanship, and we ran like 44.5 and 44.7.
I know.
That would have been
chatting and waving at each other.
That would have generally been 44 lows, zeros, and ones. So,
and in current spikes, 43 and change.
43. Matt Hudson, Sif, where are you? At the back.
I think you've probably already answered this question, but if you had to only wear one vest, is it a Welsh vest or is it a GB vest?
Wales every day. Wales every day. It's an honour to wear a British vest and it's an honour to get a medal for Britain, but Wales is great. I remember in when I retired from athletics, I ended up in 2006 getting the Welsh Commonwealth teams sponsored by Crow and Jester.
That was
the
nice.
Suits, because we looked like Michael Jackson. Before I got involved in doing the design of the 2006 suits, our trousers were like that much shorter with the white socks, and we just looked like shawady-waddy bunch of Muppets, like, you know what I mean? And then as soon as I retired, I ended up trying to get the team sponsored. And the reason I got that sponsored in 2006 is because I was so proud of the Welsh team. I'd retired at that point, and I went, I want to make my little difference. And not many people knew I was responsible for lots of the sponsorship in 2006, but I loved it, and I did make that little dent, which was great.
I've got to say thank you for the shoes from 2006. Yeah. I wore those for years.
That's
after.
Right. They were great shoes.
They were great shoes. Great shoes. So that retirement in 2005, was there a moment you were training? Was there a moment in like pre-season where you had to make that decision? Because you're still so young now. You seem to me like you want to be doing it. Was there a moment where you just thought, I can't do this to the level I want to do it now?
It's a bit of a weird one, really, because I retired on my own terms, which is a lovely thing to do. Because lots of sports people chat to you, and he got injured, and he kept going, and it just didn't work out. It was a real shame because in 2005 I was running sessions I'd never run. And I think that was my year to run low 44s. I ran my first race, I think I ran a 45 point, like a low 45s, which I'd never done in my career. I was always 46s and going down to 44s. And I got injured, slightly injured. And the reason I actually retired, nobody actually knows this, so it's kind of like nice little thing really, is I lived in America at the time. Innocent Edbadiki was my coach. And I was coming into Atlanta, and I was coming into Atlanta back and forth. I'd be there for 3 months, come home for a week, go back for 3 months, that sort of thing. When I came back to America, I'm going through passport control, hand the passport over to the guy, and he never looks at me. He's like this. And he goes, name? I went, Jamie Baulch. And he goes, I can see you're here all the time. He's really aggressive, the guy behind the thing. He goes, I can see you here all the time. He's just looking down like this. He never looks up at me. And he goes, so how come you're here all the time? I said, I do track and field. And he's still looking down. I said, and he goes, yeah, but I can see you here a lot. How do you manage to pay for this? Really aggressive. And I go, it's because I'm really good, right? Because I was cheesed off with him, and because he was so aggressive and rude. Yeah. And at that point, I said, because I'm really good. He goes, right. Big black guy, massive, like you'd hurt you. You wouldn't want to fight him, right? I remember his face. And he went like that, clipboard, got a clipboard, I had to go in the interrogation room. I'm in there for 4 hours, and it was like a bunch of murderers, and it seemed like I was in that room, like it was that room you never want to be in. Anyway, I'm in that room. Eventually, when I go to the front, they said, "Oh, so what are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I do track and field. I train here." Yeah, they said, "Oh, yeah, fine." Straight out. And I went, "That's it. I'm retiring." And it was just because of that. I was so cheesed off with how I was getting treated in America. I just went, I knew I was done anyway.
Yeah.
I was injured. I had 2 kids at this point. I wanted to be home with them more, especially Jay. I'd missed a lot of, me growing up with him because I was always away, full-time athlete. Morgan, my youngster, who's in the West End now in MJ the Musical. He's killing it. Yeah,
Superb.
killing
That's
it.
so
He's killing
cool.
it.
Superb.
Right. And my oldest is killing it as well. I'm proud of them both. And I just went, I want to be home. I'm done. And I already knew what I was going to do next.
Yeah.
I remember just on this note, because I think it will come into effect now. A lot of athletes get defined by their sport.
Yeah.
They and I remember in Gateshead, somebody telling me early on in my career, they said, hey, you're the runner. And I looked to them and I went, no, running's something I do, not what I am. And that's a massive thing. And because of that, I never got defined by my sport because I knew it was going to end at some point. And so when I retired gracefully rather than looking over my shoulder thinking, I wish I could still do it. Do I wish I could do it now? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but not really. It's done.
So you had some amazing coaches on your journey. You talked about the brilliant late Jock Anderson, Linford Christie, Innocence, who you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Different styles of coaching from the 3 of those?
Yeah, so Jock was brilliant. If it weren't for Jock at the start of my career, and he coached everyone locally from the Christian Malcolms, and Christian stayed with him all through his career. Doug Turner's, Kevin Williams, we had Tim Benjamin. I mean, we had some serious people in that group at some point along the way. Brilliant to get me started, but then at the Commonwealth Games in '94, Colin Jackson said, "Would you like me to be your coach?" I'm like, what? Well, he's just broken the world record the year before. I'm in his room at the Commonwealth Games with Paul Gray. And he said, yeah, I've got a house in America. Do you want to train with me, Linford Christie, Darren Campbell, John Regis, Merlin Ottey, Frankie Frederick? Really? Well, and this is the bit. I'll pay for everything.
Wow.
2 years of paying for everything. Business class flights.
Yeah.
I mean, Colin must have spent 50, 60 on me,
wow.
at least, right? And he didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
So, Jock to Colin to train with the best, become the best.
Yeah.
An amazing time in my career. And then Colin decided not to coach at that point. He wanted to focus a bit more on his athletics. So I had 2 years of that. And then I jumped to Linford because we were all in the same sort of group. And then went to Innocent at the end of my career. The only bit I would love to have changed in the whole of my career is I wish I'd met Innocent earlier, or if Innocent could have taught Colin and Linford more about the 400 metres. Because when I ran, the truth is, they didn't know. I was just supremely quick. And I've had a test since retirement, and my lungs are massive. Right.
Hey, Jamie, run, Jay.
Yeah. So my lungs are so I could just run like Forrest Gump. And I just wish somebody had taught me how to run the 400 metres, not just because I was very quick for 400 metres. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You talk about all the amazing coaches you've had. Would you ever consider going into coaching yourself?
I would love to coach. I would absolutely love to be a coach. Have I got time to coach? No. Would I love to assist in coaching? Yes. Down the line, can I do it? Possibly. Because what I think I could bring to the sport or to coaching is the psychology of it. Because, I've alluded to it in this interview, really, is everyone, I even watch the athletes today and you can see them getting really irate with themselves. They think, and it's a lot of egos in there. We've all got an ego and we all got this, But I realise once you've removed that, oh my God, you can do some amazing things. And I would love to almost be like a psychologist in sport within track and field because, I joke when I say I'm Lord Farquhar from Shrek, but it's the truth to a degree. I'm really sure I was up against Michael Johnson, up against you and up against Roger, up against it. being from Wales, being from, you know, the whole thing, we are up against it being here. You know, the resources, yes, they're a lot better now than when I was competing. But I think if I could get into the mindset of these young athletes, you know, even the Jeremiahs who've done some amazing things already, but it could be just one sentence I could say to somebody through their career, which could change their career. For the good, you know. So yeah, maybe down the line you might see me doing something.
And the sport seems like it's in a really strong place at the moment. There's a real buzz around it. Do you think there's any reason for the boom in athletics and running and sport at the moment?
Yeah, I just think success breeds success, right? Yeah. You know, when you get a good one, you always get another good one. And that's why I think we were all good, why Christian came along and why Kevin and myself. And it's because everyone wants to beat each other, you know. It was that like playful competitiveness, you know. And Christian, I remember Christian when he was 14 years old, and he got to 14, I was kicking his butt because I was like 20 or whatever, 21. Then when he got to 15, Jock used to make us stagger us. Yeah. So I would be on the start line and Christian would be 4 meters ahead and we'd run for 20 meters. And one day I couldn't catch him. So then Jock put him back a bit. So he's only 3 meters ahead. I couldn't catch him. 2 meters. Following like a week, about 3 weeks later, he won the European Juniors. You know what I mean? I was like, hang on a sec, this guy's incredible. So, you know, success breeds success. And I think the reason why we're having a boom now is because, you know, what's lovely about what I see in the sport, you know, we joke as the old guard about seeing these fast times and running spikes and things changing. I think because people are running so fast now, it's giving a buzz to the sport. You know, these 4x4 boys who beat our record last year, you know, I loved it. Yeah. Beat our record. Be better than me. I've still got the British record for the indoors. Yeah. And I did that in 97. Like, come on. Like, I cannot wait, and I seriously mean it, I cannot wait for somebody to break it. And I want to shake the person's hand. I can't wait. And I want to give them some advice. I want to, whoever that person is, I want to have their mobile number, and I want to maybe just, and I say this not to become their coach or to become, I just would love to be that little bit of a nugget which could give them that extra 1%, you know.
And do you think there's been a change in athletics since you were participating in the sport? And do you think it's more accessible now? Less? Do you think there's different sorts of barriers?
There's the bit I don't like about sport generally now is it's very media led and trained, you know, like the stuff me and Ewan used to say on TV live, especially Ewan, like, I'm not going to repeat in this show. And I'd be like, what? Like, I think it was more personalities because of there was no media and there certainly was no social media. So you could almost get away with it without loads of cameras being on you and then it's on the net. So I think we had a lot more freedom to be us. Yeah. And I think that's gone now. But equally at the same time, I like what I see. I mean, you know, 20, 30 years ago, we wouldn't have had this. Like, you know, what I see from an old man looking in now, I think, oh my God, it's great. I love seeing this. I love going to Nyack and seeing it, you know, the indoor running track. I love seeing it full. I mean, we used to train, myself, you and Darren and Linford. It would be nobody at that indoor running track. And I'm like, really? Like, whereas now it's got a different buzz. It's different to what it was, and it is what it is, but I do like seeing it.
How many followers would you have with your different hairstyles and your stories? I mean, it would have been.
I would have been. Like,
you didn't have much of a filter at certain times, did you?
No. So it would have been no. Me and Colin talk about that. I mean, I've got like 20,000 followers, and I don't do any media now. Yeah. I'm not like Colin. Yeah. I'm not on telly like Colin or any of them. You know, or Denise and all them lot. So I'm certainly not a celebrity in that way. That was 20 years ago. And I think, how have I still got that? And I think, well, you know, what would it have been?
What would it have been like in 96?
Millions of followers. Yeah. I don't exaggerate that. I think I would have been that guy. And you know me. You know I would have done whatever it took to be that guy. You know, I would have been like just dropping mics constantly. He's dropped the mic again. He's not even running quick, but I would have been dropping the mic.
Never a dull moment with you, Jamie. So 2005 was retirement, but several businesses later, sports management, management, a bit of, memorabilia as well. Tell us a little bit about those companies.
Yeah, so I really enjoy my business, very entrepreneurial. It's tough. It's tough out there because one of the things which I found difficult when I retired from athletics, when you cross the line and you win a race, if you like me or hate me, I'm the best, right? And, there's athletes out there who are winning races and we all go, oh, God, I can't believe that person's won again. It's that guy, right? That American 100-meter runner. And I don't mean it like that. He's all right. But you get what I'm saying. And, if you win or lose, you're the best. In business, I could say to you, oh, I love the colour yellow. And you could go, no, I love the colour purple. And we got a different point of view. So the one thing I found really difficult to understand was discretion. What you think and I think are two different opinions. And so I found that difficult. But yes, entrepreneurial. I've got a company called Bid Aid, which does silent auctions all around the world. So I've raised millions for charity up and down the world, around the world, which is amazing. I've got a sweepstakes platform, which is we're just about to launch something with Tom Jones. I don't know when this is going out.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know when this is going out, so that's happening like literally around the corner. And then my partner's business is really exciting. So my stuff's really cool.
Yeah.
But my partner's got a company called Wellness Worldwide, and she gets Olympians. So just to give you names, myself, Colin Jackson, Daley Thompson, Jess Ennis, Max Whitlock, Paula Radcliffe, Becky Adlington, who else? I'm missing some amazing Olympians here, which is sad. But that sort of calibre, and she takes them to resorts around the world. So the general public, I don't mean elite or fit people, I mean just generally, you could run with Paula from 8 till 9, then train with me, Matt Whitlock, Jess Ennis, Denise Lewis, Colin Jackson, Daley Thompson from 9 till 10, go for a swim with Rebecca Adlington to teach you how to swim. This sort of stuff, it's insane. So it's called Wellness Worldwide, wellnessworldwide.club. And I love being part of that because it keeps me in the sport. It keeps me in being the person I sort of was a bit, and just to see the people's faces light up when you've, trained with them.
And also the fundraising, do you enjoy giving back?
Oh, yeah. For me, like, just to touch on that, fundraising, raise millions. I'm adopted, and it was well documented. A few years ago, I got to meet my birth mother. If it weren't for my mum and dad, I would not have won an Olympic medal or a world champ. It was because they gave me the thing. So people say, "What was your greatest moment in sport ever?" And by hands down is when I crossed the line at the World Indoor Championships and won it. People think, "Oh, it must be that," or maybe winning the Olympic medal. No, it was after I won the World Indoors. I did the lap of honour, and I went into the infield and got my mobile phone, and I rang my dad, and it weren't live on the TV in Japan, and I rang my dad, and he goes, son, how did you get on? I said, Dad, your son is world champion.
Oh, wow.
And he cried down the phone. And that by far was my greatest moment in sport, because, it's all about the opportunity when you get given that opportunity, is to seizing it. And to hear my father cry, because my dad's not a crier, to hear him cry made me just go,
gone.
That's the way. Yeah. That's the way.
That's so cool.
You've just touched on the fact that you were adopted as an infant, and you created a documentary to find your birth mother and your birth father. How did you kind of come about the decision to want to share that publicly?
Yeah, well, it was a funny one, really, because I always wanted to meet my mother. She's passed away, unfortunately. It's called Teresa. The reason I wanted to meet her is one, I wanted to meet her, and I wanted to try and find my father. But it was more of, I wanted to show the general public who knew me or didn't what was it like to be adopted. And one of the main things was, yes, I wanted to meet my mother, but two, I wanted to show in that documentary if how amazing adoption is, because I'm an example of, oh my God, if you get into the right family dynamic, what can come from that? Yeah. And I think you will have met my mum and dad over the years. Like next week, I'm getting upgraded to the World Championship gold medal in the Olympic Stadium in Tottenham's ground. It's 60,000 people. So in '97, we came second in the World Championships. Antonio Pettigrew unfortunately took drugs, and a very sad story. He ended up committed suicide, which is horrific. But next week we're getting upgraded officially to the gold medal in front of 60,000 people, and my mum and dad are going to watch it. Oh, so that will be my greatest, I think, moment to see them in the stand, and my children will be there and grandkids, so it'll be great.
And you've done a lot of things since retiring from athletics.
Yeah.
What have you enjoyed doing most?
What have I enjoyed most? I've enjoyed like so many things, you know. I feel very lucky that, you know, when you get to the level I've got to, that you get to do things outside of what you would normally do, you know, like you alluded to at the very intro, doing things like dancing on ice. I ended up going on, and you know me well enough to know, what I'm going to say next, you know this was a bad idea. I ended up going on Mastermind. Celebrity Mastermind, and you know
what was your specialist subject, Mr. Baulch?
Yeah, Prince, the musical artist Prince is my specialist subject. And when you go on a program like that, you get asked, what's your subject? I went, athletics, you can't do that. No. You've got to do one outside of your comfort zone, sort of thing. So I went Prince, and Cheryl, my partner, said, why do you want to choose Prince? I said, I liked him when I was in school. That's it. So she bought me this book, and I had to know Prince from 1978 to 2015 or 18 or whatever it was. And she bought me a book on Amazon, and literally came through the door. I opened it up, looked at the nice pictures of Prince, and went like that, through it, right? Didn't learn nothing. Went on the programme, got into the green room, and everyone's there going, I said, have you learned your chosen subject? They went, yes, I know it from my Einstein's theory of relativity and all that. And I was like, oh, really? Went to the other celebrity. I said, what's your chosen subject? Mine's on flowers, because I love flowers. Oh, really? Yeah, I've been a flower buff for years, or whatever it was, right? So I go on the program, and they said, what's yours? I said, Prince, right? They said, what do you know on Prince? I said, nothing, right? I go on to the show, I sit in the black chair, and when you go on a show like that, the crowd get told to be quiet. So they already intimidate you. I sat on the black chair, and I remember sitting on there going, this is a rubbish chair. Now, that was the first thing I thought. And
spotlight on you?
Yeah, spotlight on you. Jonathan Humphries is there, like this, about that close, and he goes, name. I went, on my name.
Bus.
On my name. I was that bad, right? On my name. Right, I came last in the show. I do remember them asking me one question. They said, what did Prince have on his cheek in one? I went slave, and because I got it right, he went correct. Because I got it right, he goes, question 6. And all I'm doing is having a party in my head, going, yeah, still partying. Then I got it right. I went, I didn't hear the question. Can you say it again? Honestly, I've never been cursed out on social media before, but when I got out of that show, somebody on Twitter said to me, @Jamie Baulch, who's this? And put a picture of Prince on the screen like that. And it was just brilliant. I had all this abuse. Brilliant. So I've done lots of fun things in answer to the question.
I love that. And obviously being in shape is still something important to you.
Yeah.
But this part of your career, we wanted to talk about, imagine it's your last day on earth and it's your final meal. Oof. And you've got 3 guests. So what are you going to eat? And who are those 3 guests?
Who are the 3 guests? That's really tough. So what I'd eat is curry goat. Okay. No doubt, curry goat, Jamaican curry goat, love it, definitely. That's my last one. I think Colin would say pizza. Would be curry goat. 3 guests. I couldn't whittle it down. I mean that's a cop out, right? Because you know, if I don't choose my kids,
Prince,
Prince. Wouldn't it be Prince?
Yeah, Prince.
You could have a chat and learn a bit more about him.
Yeah. Maybe I'd ask Jesus along, because I could say, mate, can you turn out the wine or
okay?
No, but I'd get him along, and I'd just say, can you grant me more guests?
Okay.
And he would go, with ease. So I would like Prince.
Prince.
Yeah, Prince would be a good one.
Prince Jesus and
this is Prince Jesus. This is a really weird mix. Then I'd most probably have somebody like Muhammad Ali.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Because it would just be such an interesting conversation, because Muhammad Ali would be taking the mick. Jesus would be trying to calm him down.
Yep.
Prince would just be like, you'd have to give him a cushion so he could sit above so we could see him for a start off. I met Prince.
Really?
I met Prince.
Before or after?
Yeah. I met him before. at the Brits Awards, and I had a moment with him.
Oh, wow.
And it was kind of unique. I won't go into it because it'd take too long, but it's a good story. But Yeah, I think those three would be kind of cool if it was just three. But I would ask Jesus, sorry, if he could give me more guests, and he would. I'm sure he'd pull up a few more seats.
So looking ahead to the future, you must have some busy things, some fun things in the pipelines.
We've just launched my business in Dubai, which is really exciting. That was it was tough to get over there, but we're there. This whole bid aid, you-win stuff I'm doing has been a labour of love. You know, just like athletics, you don't become the best straight away. You know, you've got to earn your stripes, and it took 11 years before I got mine. It's the same in this business. Started off just me struggling. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Oh, I've just done this event. It's amazing. Struggle. Oh, messed up a bit there. And now I'm slowly getting into that bit. So carrying on as it is, try to raise a few more million for charity. You know, if I can just raise more and more and more for charities will be great. The whole wellness stuff which Cheryl's doing is just phenomenal, and I'm actually really excited about that, because some of the plans we got there are phenomenal, and to be part, I feel pleased as she's my partner, so I'm one of the Olympians.
You get to go on the trips.
I get to go on the trips and do them. Otherwise, I don't think, you know, when you get Jess Ennis, Denise Lewis, Colin Jackson, Daley Thompson, Paula Radcliffe, Becky Adlington, you suddenly go, oh, am I really part of that group? Because they're pretty elite. And I feel I'm lucky that I'm holding on to the shirt tails.
Next year, we've got the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Have you got your eye on any athlete?
Yeah. Well, Jez, you know, I want to see him doing what he's doing. I mean, you know, I've only ever met him, I think, twice. I met him just before he won any medal of consequence. And you know what I love about him? And I don't know him very well at all, but what I see, I love his personality. Yeah. I love his humbleness. I love that he's a true advocate of Jesus and all that. I love the fact that he's being himself in a whirlwind, which is athletics. And you know what I mean by that. It's just noise and especially now. And, you know, he does it with such grace and a smile on his face. I mean, I didn't... This is the fun fact, right? He wins the European champs. I don't watch athletics like I should, because I'm just very busy in my life, you know. Unfortunately, I'm not glued to the TV. What's on next? I didn't realise it was the World Indoors until after he just won the World Indoors. I didn't realise it, because it's every other year.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, used to be.
Yeah, do you understand what I mean?
Not in the same year,
Yeah. Certainly not the same year. So I'm going, oh, well done, Jess, nailed it, son. Blah, blah. I left him a voice note or whatever. And then he wins the World Indoors, and it comes up on my thing. Bang! I'm going, Like, he just won the Europeans only a week ago, you know, 3 weeks before.
It was close,
wasn't it? And I went, what's going on here? Am I reading this wrong or right or whatever? And wow, I mean, so how can I not say him? He's the one for me. But the other ones I'm looking at really are just more so the up and comings, the ones we don't know. And there's going to be names who I don't know today who are going to do something extraordinary, because Commonwealth Games make people like me. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, and we're going to, you know, it's the girl who runs the 400 metres, Darcy.
Darcy Coslet,
I mean, she's just a kid. Well, like Lord Farquhar from Shrek. I think when I meet her, I know I'm going to go, like what? Like, you know, I've already said congratulations to her for what she's doing. I can see in the next couple of years, with the right coaching and the right thing, she could be doing some Kathy Cook stuff. You know, I'm talking names from way back in the day now. But it's people like that. I haven't seen people like that in the sport for years. I mean, it was a lull in track and field, Welsh athletics, as you know, for a long time. You're talking for a decade. It was a couple of people here and there. You know, after we left, you had Christian propping it up for a long time, and a couple of people surrounding that.
Some Di Green's jumping in there,
and then Di Green, Reece, and then Di Green came into it and bang, you know, killed it. And now I'm just seeing like so much young talent, and you know, and you got people like the Kevin Williams and I call her Lisa Armstrong, Lisa Walden. Yeah. So I see
Super
Lisa,
coach.
Coaching.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's doing such a great job as well. Some of those youngsters coming through.
I know.
Are just
so behind the scenes of what's going on, you've got Colin coaching. I mean, there's some serious talent coming through, and the sport needs it. So really excited.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I see a lot of you in Jez actually.
Oh
yeah. His energy, his enthusiasm, and he's a world indoor champion. as well.
Well, so, I don't know him to know what he's actually like. All I know is I like what I see.
Yeah, no, he's definitely that. So, question we ask all our guests to finish is: what's the best bit of advice you've been given, and which bit of advice would you pass on to others?
The best piece of advice was the late Bob Humphreys, who used to be the BBC. He used to do all the news, not the news, but like the sport, BBC Sport. So Jason Mohammed, Bob Humphreys was that guy. Yeah, lovely bloke, right?
Yeah.
And I remember years ago he said to me, "Be yourself." And I remember, what do you mean, be yourself? Like, and the one thing you know about me is I'm always authentically myself. I don't change in any environment. So the advice I'd pass on to anyone, just be yourself. Like, don't try and conform into this person you're not. And as I alluded to during this interview, is nobody cares anyway. Yeah. If you do really well in this competition tomorrow, or if you come last or don't make the final, nobody really cares anyway, because everyone else is going amongst their business. And I think if you can truly understand that, I don't mean just listen to my words, but take that in to say the only person who cares about yourself is yourself. If you take that in and take it really in, you'll go, well, where's the pressure coming from? Because there is no pressure. The only pressure you're putting on is yourself, because you think everyone's watching. I remember being in the stand of the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, watching Matt Hudson-Smith, who's bloody brilliant, right? I'm in the stand, myself, Daley Thompson. Matt's running, flat out round the track. It was the semi-final. Someone, as he's running, is going, "Oh, James, do you want a coffee, mate?" I'm like, Matt's watching, and then I started watching the crowd, and everyone's talking, and I'm going, "Oh my God!" Like, I start laughing because I'm going, he's running it flat out. Somebody's just asking me for a coffee because they don't care that Matt's on. That person there is going, "Oh, do you want a banana?" to somebody else, sort of thing, right? And I suddenly realised that this is what I'm on about. Like, we as athletes, as former athletes, but we think everyone's watching us because we're like, "Oh, I'm this person, I'm great, everyone watch me." No, everyone's having a drink in the stand. Somebody's going for a wee while you're on. My dad, my first race... My first ever international, to show you what I'm talking about, Jock and my dad, my first ever international for Great Britain. You know it's going
Where was it? Where was it?
It was in Horsham.
In
Horsham. My
in Sussex,
first ever international. Yeah. My dad and Jock were in the bar. They missed my first 200 metres for Great Britain. They missed it because they thought I was on at 4:10 and I was on at, say, 2:45 or wherever it was. That just sums it all up. Yeah. And I think if you can really just go, hang on, where's this pressure coming on? Just get rid of it. Just ignore, take the shackles, take it all off. And why did we start doing sport? The reason we started doing sport is because we loved what we do. And that's it. Just enjoy loving it throughout your career and you're going to get a better result.
I love that. I think we've got to finish on that. Jamie Baulch, you've been a superb guest on Beyond the Track. Thank you so much for coming in.
Cheers. It's been a pleasure. I've loved it. Thank you.
Awesome.
James, wasn't that such a good interview with Jamie?
It is. He's just an amazing character. So many stories. And he has you in stitches and tears almost at the same time.
Literally, I was laughing 1 minute, crying the next. But, so good.
And so what, again, a week it was for our Welsh athletes. Let's go back to those European Under-23 Championships at the weekend. Abigail Paulett, a silver medal in the heptathlon, and Justine Davis, a silver medal in the 800 metres. Just the performances across the board, the standard seems to have been raised by European athletes. Take that 800, for example, 144.1 didn't automatically get you into the 800 metre final. That was a certain Niels Laros who ended up taking the gold medal in the final. So I think it was all 8 of the the athletes broke the championship record in those heats, and it was a brilliant performance by Justin to take that silver medal, coached by Martin Rush, and we spoke to him after, and he said he went in there wanting his best effort, and whatever that would be, to be good enough. He thought at the back of his mind that there was a chance of a medal, so I think we're just absolutely delighted that he got on that podium. That's his first international medal, and I don't think it's going to be his last international medal. And then Abigail Paulett, a personal best, a Welsh record. It only took a championship best performance to beat her by the Finnish superstar athlete. Again, coached by the brilliant Ashley Bryant. How impressed were you by those performances, Jen?
Oh, so impressed. And I remember competing at the European Under-23s many years ago, and I think those two are just putting themselves in such a great position to progress into the senior rankings, and I think this will only set them up for the years to come. And
it's kind of fun seeing that the Dutchman Laros and his teammate Stefan Nielsen, they started their seasons at the Cardiff Cross in November. So it shows you that the world's very best, the European very best athletes, they use Cardiff as a stepping stone to their championship performances. London Diamond League was another big event, wasn't it, Jen, on Saturday? Take us through some of the action of that London Athletics meet.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I watched it on TV and I wish I was there. The sellout crowd, 60,000 in the stands. Pretty inspiring, to say the least. But we had 7 Welsh athletes competing there over the weekend.
Brilliant.
Leading the way was the World Indoor 60-metre champ, Jeremiah Razou.
Our first guest on here.
He was competing twice,
yep.
2 times to touch the golden track. He did the 4x100 metres as part of the GB team. He was on leg 1, I think, and had the fastest reaction time in the race, so set them up really well, and they came in second place behind Jamaica. Then he was back out a few hours later in the individual 100 metres, finishing in a 10.11 time, which is his second fastest of the season so far. In the women's 4x100, we also had Nal Dacia. She was taking place in the GB second team, and she was also on leg 1. They finished 6th in a time of 43.92, whilst Olivia Breen, one of our T38 sprinters, produced a season's best time of 13.05 to finish second over the 100 metres as well. There was also a really strong Welsh presence in the men's 400-metre national race, which featured Olympian Joe Breyer, Evan Blackman and Rhys Middleton. The British Athletics Olympic podium athlete Breyer, he finished 3rd in a new season's best of 46.07. So I know he will be really pleased with that result and the progression he's making this year. Whilst Blackman was 4th in 46.21 and Middleton 8th in 48.34. There was also a women's national 400-metre race, which featured Hannah Breyer and Tess Mahoo. Breyer finished 4th in a season's best of 52.38, whilst Mahoo was 6th in 53.26. And that's pretty much it for the Diamond League, actually.
Well,
aside from the medals.
You and Thomas and obviously Jamie getting their medals. And again, the likes of Roger Black on that podium, Mark Richardson, Mark Hilton. I just think that they deserve every round of applause from that 60,000 crowd for those World Championship gold medals to finally be in the hands of the British athletes, obviously presented by World Athletics President Seb Coe. So that was brilliant. And their families were there as well. It was lovely to see. Abroad, Izzy Boffey continues to race week on week, trying to get sub 2 minutes. She ran 2:01.19 in Madrid on Saturday and also came within a fraction of that 2 minutes again in Lucerne, Switzerland, 6th place, running 2 minutes 00.25. That sub 2 has to come. But also, Jen, it was a busy weekend for our school athletes. They're just about breaking up for school now, but it was the SIAB Track and Field Championships in Derby. Strong team.
A really strong team. Yeah, a really strong team. There were highlights from 2 of our National Development Programme athletes in the intermediate girls long jump. We have had Olivia Scrimshaw. She claimed gold with a best of 5 metres 91, whilst Tiana Udebesson, she came silver medal with 5 metres and 78. In the intermediate boys discus, Geffen Brown earned a bronze medal with a best of 54 metres 03. Whereas other notable performances included Darcy Goslet. She is on a roll at the moment. She claimed silver in the intermediate girls 300 metres in a time of 38.54. But away from the track, what else was going on?
Well, again, busy weekend for those athletes taking place. Another race in Snowdon. This time it was the Castle Howes Ras Wada International. It was one of the races, or Europeans' toughest endurance challenges. It involves running from the edge of the Lake Pardon to the village of Llanberis to the highest summit in Wales. That's got your name written all over it at some point, Jen. There was a strong Welsh team taking part, and it was Eden O'Dear, the D-side Athletics Club athlete, celebrating with the highest finish in the women's race, finishing 8th place, registering a time of 1 hour, 26 minutes and 22 seconds. And then in the men's race, the first Welsh finisher was Hugh Davis, 16th place in 1 hour, 16 minutes and 38 seconds, I should say. But also, I think it was our back to the track, Jen. It was the National Athletics League Championships in the West, and that took place not far from here at the Cardiff venue.
Yes, the National Athletics League was round 3 this weekend, and it was Swansea Harriers who continued their dominance and secured another match victory against rivals Cardiff. It was Swansea's throwers who were in great form, with Patrick Swan winning the men's shot put in a best of 18 metres and 10 centimetres, whilst clubmate and World Para Athletics F38 silver medalist Michael Jenkins was second with 17 metres and 78 centimetres. There was also a victory from Lucy Harris in the women's discus with a best of 40 metres and 86 centimetres. But yeah, that was another really good weekend of action. James, back to the off-roading.
Yeah, since Sunday Sky Race, Penrith, that took place, and superb athlete Chris Jones, who we can't wait. We're going to get him on this podcast at some point. An athlete that has competed at the Commonwealth Games on the track, but he also just smashes it. He's an amazing orienteer, but yeah, mountain, road, track, give him any distance, any surface. But he ran the Sky Race in a new course record on Saturday, and he just is one of those that just can run all day, and his time 3 hours, 6 minutes and 23 seconds.
I have some great stories about Chris Jones, so watch this space and we will share them with you soon.
Love that.
Whereas, James, you were in action in the Rabbit Run Wales in Merthyr Mawr over the 12k race, which was won by Ed Slaughter in 47.49. You did finish second in 48.57, whereas the first female finisher was Antoinette Rose, who clocked 56.06. Over 41k, didn't fancy that?
No, I gave that one a miss. But yeah, Jacob Tasker was so impressive, Jen. 2 hours 44 minutes for that is almost a marathon.
As was Justine Dawkins, who claimed the women's victory in 3 hours and 47 minutes.
Yeah, great event, and a real kind of festival of trail running down there at the estate on Saturday, and it was back to the track on Sunday for our sprinters. The Be Fit for Today Track Academy at Lee Valley. Such fast times. I think athletes are enjoying the fairly warm conditions at the moment. Desire, who came back from that relay on the Saturday, running in the heats. I think it was the 5th round heat, and running 12.12. And then some of our youngsters as well, some phenomenal performances. But there's also Commonwealth Games T11 medalist James Ledger, Swansea area, the DSW Para Academy athlete, finishing 4th in his first round in 11.83, and then he went a little bit faster in the next round, 11.73. So that was a super busy week, Jen, wasn't it?
Super, super busy with some really outstanding performances, which have been so good to see.
They have. And what have we got coming up this week?
Wow, coming up this week, we also have another really busy weekend at the England's Athletics Senior and Under-23 Championships, which are happening in Birmingham in the Alexander Stadium, where the Commonwealth Games in 2022 were held. So it's a good track, I can confirm. And we have athletes such as Niall Desir, Lewis Stevens, Jessica Mantle, Jack Organ, Henry Evans and Millie Gold, all vying for a place on that European under-20 team.
Well, hopefully they're inspired by our under-23 medalists from the European champs to make that team, and who knows, even make that podium. Also on Saturday, some of our Welsh athletics and Welsh schools athletes take part in the outdoor combined events. Again, having talked to the likes of Harrison and Colin about the importance of doing multi-sports and multi-event, so a bit of run, jump, throw for athletes. And then also on Sunday, North Wales, the Junior League 3, incorporating the open meeting, that's up in Bangor. So again, great to see some of those performances for our youngsters. And we wish all those very best in the Alexandra Stadium on Saturday and Sunday. So Jen, what a week. What a great interview with Jamie as well.
So good. I really enjoyed that interview with Jamie. I can't keep coming back to it enough. Some great, really inspiring performances and an exciting weekend to come.
It is. And how do people follow us?
Wow, if you want to keep up to date with the podcast, you can like, subscribe, share with a friend. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on our Instagram, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you want, really.
So for myself, James Thee.
And Jenny Nesbitt.
We see you at the next Beyond the Trap podcast. Thank you very much.